is why I am embarking on what I called a tour to change the world. A few weeks ago, I was on an international show that had representatives from the United States, from Canada, from Australia, and New Zealand. And we started off talking about voter fraud. And we all seemed to notice that the very same methods of voter fraud were employed no matter what part of the world they were in, just like the COVID restrictions, just like the global climate restrictions. So this was a global problem, and it needs a global solution. We need a global voice. And I said at the time, if I can get myself into the United States, the bastion of freedom, the largest standing army in the world, the people that care more about freedom and have a document called the Constitution that absolutely enshrines freedom into their daily lives, this would be the perfect place to start. And this would be the only country that I knew 1,000 units for people to live and work in there. Meanwhile, you'll only find parking for like 100 to 200. Where are the rest of the people supposed to do? Oh, don't worry, you have bike parking. And now you don't need a car because you're gonna work upstairs or live upstairs, you're gonna work downstairs, and everything else you need is in the building.
Prison.
It's exactly like prison, except you can leave when you want, but where are you gonna go on a bike? You live in Texas, it's gorgeous here. It's like over 100 degrees now, but even in the winter, it's nice. You can take a scooter, you can take a bike. In Toronto, the most populous area, the whole GTA of Canada, there's like 40 million people. There's 10 million people right there, 25% of the population. And majority of Canada is under snow 5 to 6 months out of the year. So where are you gonna go if you don't have a car and you live in these cities? And on top of that, your district, and they call them districts, by the way, that's not my word, that's their word. Your district is designed to be identical to the district next to you. So why the hell are you going to go over there when it's the same gym, the same grocery?
And again, only select corporations are allowed to even be in those areas.
And how do they do that? It's very simple. All those wonderful small businesses that have been the backbone of cities downtown, they require vehicle traffic because their customers are not coming from downtown. Their customers are coming from the suburbs many miles away. They're driving there specifically for that business.
What it does is it kills all the small businesses, which is what COVID was designed to do.
100%.
What, the average billionaire doubled their wealth during COVID?
At least, and that's just on paper. And then how many?
It was a vertical integration war, and you heard Gates say this was all a test.
Yes.
I played a clip today. A test.
Yes.
Can you imagine the real thing?
Well, that's what they're gearing up for, and that's why they wanted all their climate change agendas in place. Because if they can have the carbon allowance set up, if they can have the digital identity set up, the digital currency set up, and already have the 15-minute cities being built, and then they do another COVID-style lockdown, and everybody's locked up, businesses are closed, people are masked, people are jabbed, people are mandated through travel, they'll be able to push through all the climate change agenda.
Well, remember China and Australia and New Zealand were the model. Remember when all the trendies that were in the 50-story skyscrapers couldn't leave their houses? You're in a COVID lockdown already.
That's how it is in China right now. They have every one of those buildings has like gated turnstiles, like you'd have at a subway station or something. And you have to scan and you have to show that you've been tested and you're okay, and then you're allowed to leave.
But meanwhile, our border is wide open. So they're setting up internal checkpoints for us in TSA, but then the border's wide open.
Well, because they have selective entry and exit. They want certain people to come in and they don't want certain people to leave. It's very obvious.
They're building the prisons and trying to entice us to get inside the cage. Don't do it. Chris Sky is on fire. He's here for the Liberty Awards. They're going to be this Saturday at the Vulcan Gas Company. I don't even know if tickets are still available. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Like putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And if you try to take our guns, 1776 will commence again.
Sticking with Facebook, it is one of several companies today that are limiting the content of far-right podcast InfoWars.
Facebook, Apple, and YouTube have all taken down content from Jones and his InfoWars channel.
Whenever I talk about Alex Jones, my wife will not let me into the house until I've been deloused.
Anyone who believes in Alex Jones and believes these theories, you really got to go get help.
Alex Jones has been ordered to pay $965 million.
look how there's a move to control information. There's always been. And it ought to scare people that you got to move to indoctrinate the children of America. If they can get you to be part of a group, an environmentalist or part of your minority group.
Black, Latino, and indigenous people are suffering and dying disproportionately.
The most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
They'll have their little tailor-made people that are bought and paid for to claim to be your leaders.
We're looking at a giant war in February right now. Currently, that's the projections.
There's an entire agenda afoot to force the population to undergo different type of medical treatments, namely vaccines.
In 2002, there is a tyrannical organization calling itself the New World Order, pushing for worldwide government, a cashless society.
If any terrorism comes, it's from this government. And if there was an outside threat like a bin Laden, who was a known CIA asset in the 80s, running the Mujahideen War, and whose family builds all the military bases over in Saudi Arabia right now, and sits on the board of Iridium Satellite. He's the boogeyman they need.
I've been shadow banned. The people have turned against him, so all they can do now is try to outlaw questioning elections so they can steal all the future elections. No exaggeration, there are tens of thousands of different video clips of Democrats in the last 30 years challenging elections the exact same way Trump did. They could just never get 1 million people to go protest and say that they thought an election was fraud. I could play you Al Gore challenging the election. I could play you all these clips, but you've seen them. And now they've indicted Trump and are about to indict a bunch of his lawyers for sitting around and challenging it and believing it was stolen. I mean, Biden didn't even campaign. He couldn't get 20 people at a campaign stop. Trump had millions. But think about the indictment. Trump said illegal aliens are voting. Look at this headline, Pew Research, highly respected, big polling company. Most of the 23 million immigrants eligible to vote in the 2020 election live in just 5 states. Pull up headlines all day. Democrats legalize migrants voting. They don't use the word illegal. So if you search the word illegal, it won't come up. Democrat cities legalize non-citizens voting. And they go, oh, but it's just local elections. We just give them voter registration and sign them up. But, oh, they can't fill in the box for federal. But, of course, they are. And now they've passed laws all over the country that illegal aliens can be police officers. Now, there's the Washington Times. For the People Act allows Democrats to register illegal voters. I mean, and they're going to convict Trump, folks. It's in the indictment. I just showed it to you. They've indicted him for lying and saying illegals voted. Again, that's like indicting the Dallas Cowboys for saying that you use a football in football. Secretary refers 1,600 non-citizen registrants to local DA's GBI state election board. That's in Georgia. That was just last year. But there are no illegals voting. It's a lie. He's indicted. It'd be like if I said, I'm wearing a black shirt today. And Jack Smith said, no, you're not. You're indicted. And I'm like, looks pretty black to me.